It's probably less otherwise, it's
ऑनलाइन होगा ना, मुझे इसमें अभी अभी नहीं सेट के बाद आपको इसको उठा के इसमें डालने का आप सोच लीजिए, लेकिन है कुछ तो आप कैसे डालें।
Bring it on the point of the screen. Ask me to join the camera. That's me.
All this kind of reading the
It's a good afternoon, everybody. For this post-lunch, post-tea session. So here we are starting with the third session, and I'm welcoming Dr. Vijay Kumar Chaudhary to chair this session. And in this section, we will discuss about Buddhist monasteries in Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh. And the first speaker, first let me welcome all the speakers. We have Professor Anura Manatunga from Kelaniya University. Sir, please come on to the dais, and I would request Ajay Chakrawal to please present a bouquet, and everybody please join in welcoming him. All the other sessions in this, all the other lectures in the sessions are online. Let us also welcome Professor Robin Cunningham. He is online with us on Google Meet. Sir, can you hear me?
Namaskar. Hello. This is Vijay Chaudhary.
Hello.
I welcome you on this occasion. Thank you very much for joining.
So we'll start with the first lecture, sir.
Yeah. So yes, Professor Anura, thank you to start.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chairperson and scholars.
Sir, Mike.
And
आवाज कर दो because Google Meet पे सुनाई नहीं देगा नहीं तो. But you also please use the mic.
good afternoon to everybody. Chairperson, Secretary, and other scholars, friends, online participants. My presentation is today is on Anuradhapura, and it's general description on Anuradhapura and about comparative study on the architectural monuments and the landscape of Anuradhapura. I'm attempting to present something on it. First, we'll see where is Anuradhapura, because most of you have not gone there. I show you Anuradhapura is some person. It's somewhere there, you can see. Yeah. And it's been surrounded by large bodies of water. We call them tanks, and at least 5 tanks are surrounded Anuradhapura, and the monuments are within that area. Now we'll see what are the significance of Anuradhapura. And Anuradhapura was the first capital city of Sri Lanka. Right? It was the first capital city of Sri Lanka. And it was the largest early historic city in the south of Godavari River. You know about sort of cities south of Godavari, but in the early historic period, it was the largest city in Godavari. It was possibly the most prosperous city in the region during the 3rd century CE and till 10th century CE. You know, after the decline of Guptas, there were not that much prosperous urban settlements in India. But during that period, and up to the rise of Cholas came up in the 10th century as a prosperous kingdom, and during that period, Anuradhapura was the most prosperous city in the region. And it is also the most sacred city for Theravada Buddhists after the original cities in the Ganga Valley. You know, the Bodhgaya here, and also Lanka and Lumbini, where Robin is working, and Sarnath. Those places are highly sacred for Buddhists. But after that, Anuradhapura is the most sacred for Buddhists. Not from Sanchi, not Tatsila, or some other place, but it's Anuradhapura. Because after declining those places, the pilgrims, they came to Anuradhapura to worship, because they couldn't come to Bodhgaya or Nalanda, Sarnath, or Lumbini, or some other place. And it continued for 1400 years as the administrative center of the island. It's a long span of time, 1400 years. Started in the 4th century BCE and declined in the 10th century. It means about 1400 years. Continuously became the capital city of the island, except for a few decades. About 18 years, it shifted to Sigiriya, and sometimes it shifted to Polonnaruwa only for about decades or 2 decades. Otherwise, Anuradhapura continued as the capital city of Sri Lanka for 1400 years. And now we'll see what are the monumental significance of Anuradhapura. We know that the earliest or the oldest historical tree in the world is at Anuradhapura. You know about the Sri Mahabodhi. The Bodhi tree was here at Bodhgaya, but it was destroyed by one of the Asoka's queens. And then thereafter, the second one was destroyed by Muslim invaders. And thereafter, this tree, it was grown by a sapling taken from Sri Mahabodhi of Bodhgaya, was lasted. So there is the oldest historical tree prevailing in the world today at Anuradhapura, Sri Mahabodhi. We call it Sri Mahabodhi. It was planted by a sapling taken by Teri Sanghabhikta from the original Bodhi tree during Emperor Asoka's time. And there are a lot of stupas at Anuradhapura, and among those stupas, there are 3 stupas. They are the highest in the world. The Mahatupa, this is the Mahatupa, and the Jetavana and the Abhayagiri. All these 3 stupas are within walking distance, and They are highest. I don't say they are the largest, because Borobudur must be the largest. And Kanheri and other places also. Not I mean, the other stupas here, they are bigger than this, but when we consider about the height, they are the highest. And then we'll see the history of the city. Anuradhapura established in the actually it's the 4th century BC or 5th or 4th by one nobleman called Anura. He established the city in the auspicious time of Anura. The established person's name and the time he established the city is both Anuradha. Therefore, the place was named as Anuradhapura. It was a village actually at the beginning, but later it became the town and the city. Actually, in the 4th century BCE, King Panduka Abaya, he established the city as the main administrative center of Sri Lanka, because he united the island in some extent, and he demarcated the city boundaries and village boundaries also, and also he appointed Nagara Muttika, a person like mayor, to look after the city. And he also given, he demarcated some places, allocated some places for Diganters and tree spirits, Yaksas, Brahmis, and that kind of people. And also Yavanas means Greek or some other people. And also Sudras, servants, I mean, that kind of people, he has given separate places in the city. It means he has made the city in particular way and in systematic way. And at that time, Buddhism was not known there. So only for the Brahmins were there, and Yaksas were there, Diganters were there, Tales were there. But in the chronicle, the Mahamsa doesn't mention about any Buddhist temple during this time. Anuradhapura later it developed as a Buddhist city after 3rd century BCE. The 3rd century BCE, during Emperor Asoka's time, Buddhism came to introduced to Sri Lanka by Arahat Mahindra, son of Emperor Asoka. He introduced Buddhism to Sri Lanka, and thereafter, soon after actually, Buddhism has been recognized as a state religion in Sri Lanka. From thereafter up to present, it's continued as a Buddhist country. Even today, the majority of people in Sri Lanka are Buddhist from that period onward. And construction of large monasteries. I mean, first monastery started by Devanampi is the 3rd century BCE. The first monastery called Tissara in his name, and it later converted into the Mahavihara. And the beginning, he started the Tissarama temple and Anuradhapura. And then there is Sangamitta, she brought the Bodhi tree there, and that also established at Anuradhapura, and that also a landmark of the development of Anuradhapura, and it became some kind of Buddhist city. And my friend Robin he may be knowing very much about the place, and he think about the Buddhist theocratic state developed at Anuradhapura, according to him. And this is the first stupa at Anuradhapura. It's a Tuparama. It's a small stupa, relatively small stupa. This is taken after reconstruction in 1842. And this stupa, though it's a small stupa, it's one of the most sacred stupas at Anuradhapura. Though there are huge stupas, still people go and worship this one, because this is the earliest known one, and also it has the collarbone of Buddha inside it. This was built enshrining the collarbone of Lord Buddha. Therefore, this stupa is very sacred for Buddhists of Sri Lanka. And this is the Mahabodhi tree at Anuradhapura. You can still see this. And you'll see the landscape of the monasteries. The first monasteries were established south of the city. The Tisarama and the Mahavihara were established south of the city. The city is, I can't find out this. City is somewhere here, and the monasteries were developed south of the city. And then the Abhayagiriya and the other monasteries were developed in the north of the city, the second stage. At the same time, east and the far north, the peripheral monasteries known as Pambata Viharas were developed in this area and also in this area developed. Peripheral monasteries, we call them Pambata Vihara. And later I will explain what does it mean by Pambata Vihara. So they were there. And in the western part, actually it's beyond this point, there were some other peculiar types of monasteries, we call them Padhanagara. So those monasteries were at that time. And further south, there were some kind of rock monasteries, okay, cave monasteries are there. They are somewhat earlier monasteries than Mahaviharas, but some type of monasteries. And the building of the Mahatupa and the Roa Mahaprasada by King Bodhgaya Abbey in the 1st century BC is one of the landmarks of developing Anuradhapura as a Buddhist city. Roa Mahaprasada is the chapter house or the Vosta mirror of the Mahavihara. It was 12 stories height at that time. It was known as the Loa Mahaprasada because it was covered by metallic tiles, loha tiles. Loha means metal, and so metal covered by metallic tiles. And after the building of the Mahatupa, Mahatupa is known as the Huamali Dagava and also known as Hemamali Stupa, Swarnamali Stupa, and several names are there. The most important thing is the exact point. There was a tree for a tree split before building this stupa. But Bodhgaya Abbey did, he removed that one and built this stupa at the same point. And he has given the name of that tree split name to this stupa. The tree split name is Swarnamali. So he has given the name to this stupa and we call it the Swarnamali stupa for the Mahatupa. And after some time, in the 1st century CE, King Bodhgaya Abbey, he built the Abhayagiri Vihara. And the Abhayagiri Vihara, I will show you Abhayagiri. This is an Abhayagiri Vihara. And in this point, there was a Jain temple before constructed this stupa. And then Jain priest, he insulted the king before he became a king. And as a revenge, he demolished his Jain temple and built this one. But he kept the Jain priest's name for this one. The Jain priest's name is Giri. And he took the king's name Abhay, because it's Bodhgaya Abhay, and Jain's name Giri, and coined the word Abhayagiri. So he used Abhayagiri name for that, because Abhay is the part of the king's name, Giri is a part of the Jain priest's name. So this became Abhayagiri. Abhayagiri is taller than the Mahavihara, but still we call the Mahavihara for the Swarnamali Jiri. Now it has already been conserved by the UNESCO Sri Lanka Cultural Track. And this is the Mahatupa. And the Jetavana is it was built in the 3rd century BC, 3rd century AD, I mean CE. by King Mahasena. And both these monasteries, I mean, Abhayagiriya and Jetavana was pro-Mahayanic. But Mahavihara was the one only, this one, Stupa and Mahavihara was rather pro-Theravadi. So how they plan the city? The city area also plain. Not an open area. It's totally plain area. And not only this natural plain area, they sometimes they level the area. It was mentioned in the chronicle that they level the area from time to time to make it more smooth. And they use water bodies as one of the main demarcation of landscape. And the most significant feature of the landscape of Anuradhapura is waterscapes. There are several huge reservoirs like this there, and it's surrounded by these huge irrigation reservoirs. They are also ancient as this ancient than actually this stupas. This irrigation tank is older than stupas. And then they use dressed stones, bricks, and timber as material mainly for building monasteries. And they leave parks, groves, and open spaces when they landscape the area. The groves are always mentioned, the Nandana, then other Mahamuna, and that type of open spaces or some kind of parks were there, and they were given much consideration for that kind of landscape. And this is the Lower Mahaprasad. Now it has only 1,600 pillars like this, and this shows that the superstructure might have been built by timber, because we have only the foundational stones, and it says that it was 9-story height at that time, but now we have only this one. This is the chapter house of the Mahavihara. And during 3rd century to 10th century CE, the city developed with large viharas, but there were small scale stupas after that time. After building the Jetavana stupa in the 3rd century CE, until the end of Anuradhapura, there were no big stupa constructions, but there were medium sized and small stupas were there. But the viharas were developed. Art and architecture were developed during that period. And Abhayagiriya monastery was developed more than Mahavihara and Jetavana. Jetavana was restricted to a small area, though the stupa was very big. The vihara is not that much big. But Abhayagiriya was developed, and the Abhayagiriya is the most prosperous monument, vihara of Anuradhapura. The center of that vihara, Abhayagiriya stupa. And this is the Abhayagiriya after it's conserved. Now it looks like this. And this feature is peculiar to India. In India you have Ayaka Stamba, but instead of Ayaka Stamba, we have this, we call it Ayaka, this kind of building. In archaeological literature, it's called practice piece of the stupa. And all the architectural elements are found here only. And the earliest architectural, sculptural elements are found here. The earliest sculptures we can see in this practice piece called Ayaka. And in Sinhala we call it a Vahalkada. And there are 4 Vahalkadas or Ayakas in stupas. But in India you can see 5 pillars instead of this one. And you can see huge terrace there for a stupa. Every stupa, and this is Abhayagiri terrace, and this type of terraces are there. Actually, two terraces are there for stupas. One is the stone terrace, and then the sand terrace below this. And this photograph I took to show you the greenery, because the forest or the parks or groves are also a part of the landscape. The Sri Lankan cities, Sri Lankan towns, the forest is also part of that. Because the major fuel supply was the forest. Timber and firewood were taken from there. So forest is one of the essential items in Sri Lankan urbanization. It's a town and the forest is nearby. Even in Kandy, just beyond the palace, it's a huge thick forest. In here also, it's just beyond the Abhayagiri, its eastern entrance. And this is the Jetavara Stupa. This is the biggest among all these stupas there, and the highest also. And recently conserved by the UNESCO Sri Lanka Culture Triangle. But though this is the biggest one, this is not that much sacred when we consider about the Mahatupa or the Abhayagiri, or even small Tupara was more sacred than this, because here there were no corporate relics of Buddha. The other stupas have corporate relics of Buddha. And this is the image also of Jetavana Vihara. It seems a huge image there, but now we can't see them. Yeah, we destroyed, but only this part can see there. And this is very important. It's like Buddhist railings of Sanchi. It's like that. And we call this place railing site of Anuradhapura. And we call it a Buddhist railing. It's very important because it represents Buddhist philosophy. The Buddhist philosophy is like this railing. It's not solid, so you can go through it. Some kind of demarcation is there, but that is not like this wall. It's like this wall. Buddhism is like this wall. You can go. They are not that much hard and fast. So that's why we call it Buddhist railing. We don't know what was this building actually at the beginning, but we think it is a Bodhgaya or something like that. And this one is also one of the kept houses there at Jetavana Vihara. It was taken, it was demolished. We don't know who demolished it. Even some colonial period engineers, they used these stones as metal for roads. And possibly they were taken by them and also possibly by the earlier period. And this is very important, this found. This found in the repertory of Abhayagiri Vihara and for using to feed monks, rice and other things kept there. And this type of huge ponds are found at Anuradhapura. In almost every monastery, I mean every Pirivena have their own pond. So this is one of the ponds. We call it Akpakuna or the elephant pond because it's massive, it's in massive size. Therefore we call it Akpakuna. And this is one of the other pond. And Isurumuniya temple, one of these other monasteries of Anuradhapura. And this is the twin, we call it Puttam Pakuna or the twin pond. Puttam means twin at Anuradhapura. That also belongs to Abhayagiri monastery. There are about, at least 82 ponds like this at Anuradhapura in various sizes. It means every Pirivena has its own pond. As you saw in the Nalanda yesterday, there were lot. And these are the peculiar type of monasteries. They were placed in the western part of the city. And we call them double platform monasteries at the beginning because these monasteries have double platforms like this. So, like that. And they were clearly built, but no art, I mean, it's sculptural art there. We can't find any sculptural art there except in this one. This was identified as a urinal, interpreted as a urinal, but I felt doubt about that. I think it's a paduka or something like that. And therefore, once I suggested that these are not proper Buddhist temples and they can be cheap temples because they are found in the separate area of the city, and also no Buddhist Buddha images, no stupas, no Bodhi trees, nothing. They have only this type of plain double platforms. But except this type of structures are there. So I think they were the places to wash feet, like Father Vandana. And then there were Pambata Viharas, so the peripheral monasteries. They were beyond this Jetavana, Adagiri, and Mahavihara area. They were known as Pambata Vihara. Earlier scholars, they believe they were rock temples. The Pambata in Pali, it means rock. Therefore, they understood these monasteries as Pambata Vihara. But except one or two examples, all these places are without rocks. They are same as the other monasteries. But only thing is, they were found far away places. Far away means far away from the city, beyond the city, in peripheral regions. Therefore, I interpreted them as Parvata Vihara. Parvata, not Parvata, Parvata. Parvata means far away, like Parvati. You can't reach easy. Right. Parvati's name was also like that because she was not reach her easily. Therefore, she was known as Parvati. Therefore, I interpreted them as Parvata Viharas. Parvata means far away Viharas. So it means the peripheral Viharas, not rock monastery. But in textbooks and other places, you may find them as rock monasteries because Pabbata and Parvata both derived as Pabbata in Singapore. And then you can see this kind of sculptural art at Anuradhapura, Buddha statues. And this is still we don't know what is this art. And this type of tuna images are there. And this one of the masterpieces there at Anuradhapura. Now it was taken to Colombo Museum and found it there. And this type of Naga Rupas were also found at Anuradhapura. And there's the same Mithula sculpture. We called it the Surumuni lovers. We called it because it was discovered from the Surumuni temple. And then we have this type of bar relief at Anuradhapura. And this is one of the masterpieces of Anuradhapura. We call it a moonstone, but we found it at as a footstone at the Viharas. And several people interpreted this in different way. But recently I interpreted this represented the birth of Prince Siddhartha because they are found in image houses, in front of image houses, not in secular buildings, in viharas. And and though we call it moonstone, I interpret this as the sun because the outer circle is like rays of the sun. And in the Buddha Charita of Pasagosa and Lalita Vistara, it says the birth of Prince Siddhartha is like rising a new sun to the world. And the center figure is the lotus. Lotus is always representing Buddha. Right? And here there is a lotus, and there are 4 animals, elephant, horse, lion, and bull. Those 4 animals are representing the guardian gods, 4 guardian gods. The Buddha Charita says that when Prince Siddhartha was born, 4 guardian gods came and took him into their custody. And the most important thing is the other sculptural, the foliages and the hamsas, I think it's representing Lumbini Grogu, and both sides there are guard stones, and this guard stone, in this particular period, we can see Naga, anthropomorphic Naga figures. And these anthropomorphic Naga figures, I think, representing Nanda and Upananda, who were presented when Prince Siddhartha was born. And beyond that, there were 2 balustrades. And this balustrade has Makara figure, or the dragon. And this dragon is representing 2 body of waters falling down from the heaven when Prince Siddhartha was born. Because in this Makara's tongue, we can see it as water, body of water, and even there are some flowers also there. And those flowers are like Madara flower fallen down from the heaven when Prince Siddhartha was born. So I think this represents the birth of him because he is there in the temple. So before he was going there, his birth they represented by this one. So this is the latest interpretation, but other people interpret it as some other way. Some says it's Lake Anuradhapura, and some says that it represents the Bhava Chakra and this thing or that thing. So, but that's my own interpretation. Probably must be knowing about that because I presented it in Lumbini about that. So then we will see the collapse of the city, and the main reason was the Chola invaders in the 10th century, but there were some other reasons. But when Cholas invaded, they selected Polonnaruwa. This photograph is the Polonnaruwa, the second capital city of the country, and they ransacked Anuradhapura, selected Polonnaruwa as their administrative center. They ruled there about over 50 years, and then King Vijayabahu, he expelled Cholas from Ceylon, and then a few months he was at Anuradhapura, but he also returned to Polonnaruwa and from Polonnaruwa, and then Polonnaruwa became the capital city, and simply Anuradhapura being forgotten. But they even kings of Polonnaruwa, they considered Anuradhapura as the Mula city or the original city and respected it because the Buddha's relics were there. Polonnaruwa never became a sacred city. Polonnaruwa, we go to Polonnaruwa to see Polonnaruwa, not to worship Polonnaruwa, but when we go to Anuradhapura to worship Anuradhapura. So it's being a sacred city, Polonnaruwa being I think it's a trader city. Right. And then we'll see how we discovered it. The Anuradhapura, I mean, it was forgotten, not forgotten, but abandoned for centuries. And then so we can say can't rediscovered because people always went there for worshipping Sri Mahabodhi, but it was surrounded by thick forest. But in the early 19th century, some Buddhist monks, they started to clear up some of the monuments and settle there. And they themselves started to reconstruct some of the stupas. And antiquarian studies started in the 19th century. There, the large-scale archaeological excavation started under C.P. Bell He was the first archaeological commissioner in Sri Lanka, like you Cunningham here, Alexander Cunningham. We have CP Bell. He did a marvelous service for Sri Lankan archaeology, and most of the monuments uncovered by him, and the first conservation work also done by him. And the government established the Anuradhapura Preservation Board in 1950s. It was lasted for about a decade. And then we developed two separate cities, the old city of Anuradhapura and the new city was separated from that. And that's very good move actually, otherwise the city will be destroyed. But now it was like that. And this photograph shows Bell's team, workers, mainly Tamils, because the Sinhalese Buddhist people, they scared to going for excavations of sacred building. So he used mostly Tamils, Muslims, and also he takes some people from jails, prisoners, for archaeological work at that time. Because other people, they are rather reluctant to do archaeological work. And the Anuradhapura declared as the World Heritage City, and there were two major projects, Abhayagiri and Jetavana, started since 1980, and this Central Cultural Fund with UNESCO started their work there. And now I think Robin is going to start the Mahavihara project from this year onward, and that will be another phase of Sri Lanka and Anuradhapura. That's all I think I have to say. Thank you very much.
Amit, make Robin Cunningham the presenter now.
Actually, he's there.
Yes, sir, he's there. So we'll make him the presenter, sir. Give us 2 minutes.
So thank you very much, Anura, for a very delightful presentation, very informative. As I see the schedule, the discussion will take place after the presentation of Professor Cunningham. It will join me. I'm quite sure that the audience would have lots of comments and questions to address you, but the discussion will take place at once when he has also presented. So I really welcome Professor Robin Cunningham once again. You all are well aware of his credentials, so I really don't need to say a lot. For those, some of you who don't know, he is professor at University of Durham, and he's also UNESCO Chair on Archaeological Ethics and Practice in Cultural Heritage. The chair of early medieval archaeology and is associate director at World Heritage. And more importantly, he has done lots of exciting things. I will not preempt his presentation because he has recently discovered a very good find in an epicidal temple, and the site he has been working on. So now the dice is yours, Professor Cunningham, and we are eagerly waiting for his presentation.
Thank you very much. Can I just check that you can see my screen?
What is wrong?
No. He's presenting. He's waiting.
Sometime.
So
Here is, but it can happen right on the next floor.
can I just check that you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, you can. So I'm extremely grateful to Dr. Chowdhury and to the Bihar Heritage